So let me ask you guys some questions today. How do you see journalism?
How do I view journalism? I think I got more of like as a kid to a teenager. Like teenager, I start understanding journalism a little bit, but I didn't know it was so many different categories of journalism. Cause you got your
It,
sports, of course you got people that deal with like homicides and stuff. Then you got political things, political journalism. I don't know. You know more categories than me, but I just know it's so much more than just A lot of people
right,
just go straight to sports, but it's so much more.
right. When I was a kid, being a journalist was like, well, I don't want to joke about it, but you had lawyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had preachers, you had politicians, and then you had journalists down
Yeah.
here. And it was like journalism was seen as it depended on which stream you got into. It was seen as something that could be impactful, maybe like law, but just from a reporting standpoint, everyone. If you go back to the First Amendment, whether it's preaching, whether it's First Amendment, law, being a lawyer, working in government, all of that is impactful. Journalism is impactful. We've changed billions of lives, literally.
For sure.
So that's how it was back then. Today, it's seen as being more divisive, which is unfortunate. You have a lot of people bringing in their personal political viewpoints into
Yeah.
reporting stories that should be more or less neutral from the reporter's standpoint. It's really in a sad state.
I was just gonna piggyback off that. Like it felt like back then, like the news was meant for something, right? It was not like political based, and when it was political based, it was not based on viewpoints and stuff, right? But nowadays, it's directed on how people feel about some way or some
Right,
form, whether it's left or right. You
right.
know what I mean? Um, a lot of stuff, even with sports, it's get talked about like how Stephen A. Smith,
Oh,
will go after players,
Stephen
and
A. Smith.
instead of keeping code, right? Instead of keeping the code about sports, like y'all know, he's been going after LeBron, on some of these
He goes
podcasts.
after anybody.
He goes after anybody, and
Until he meets him face to face.
it's, so it's
And
like we have the standards to back then. Like I said, I wasn't into a lot of that stuff that I am in and working on now. You know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of stuff back then uh was meant for something. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
you did have people who were still divisive, and
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith will pop up. What's the other guy's name? Jason Whitlock. Is that
Yeah, Whitlock. Yeah, he is.
well? I don't want to say it like that on air, but what I'll just say is that you will always have people like that. In whatever profession you have, uh, it's just the way it is. And believe it or not, even though they may say things that are outrageous, sometimes it's good to kind of hear so that you can formulate your own ideas. Thomas Jefferson, one of the founders of the country, came up with well, he didn't come up with the idea of free speech alone, but they talked about free speech as being part of the marketplace for ideas. So Dion has an idea, Roland has an idea, I have an idea. We come to the same table and we sit down and listen, and then we figure out, okay, well, here's an idea. But what's happened is that you have people who are gatekeeping ideas, and they're becoming more involved with politics, and it's become more attack based versus truth finding. In other words, there's more fire than light, and we need more light.
Quick,
So
quick
I guess I could
comment. Do
go
you
over.
think the reason is like turned to that more like how you just explained it, right? Is because it sells more? Because as humans always like we can go back to the Greece Roman times, the Colosseum.
Mhm.
Loved it. The violence, and stuff like that. Nowadays we love any type of drama. Drama sells. It
Mhm.
looks like. So would you say that's a reason why it's like getting so? But it's always been a thing. It's just like now it's
Yeah,
like.
it's always been a thing, and it will continue to be a thing. And just as bad as it was back in the day, where you had Romans watching people being eaten by lions,
Yeah.
Today, you have similar things going on. We may not see it in this country all the time, but it's happening. If someone dies during a game or during a maybe what's that thing where they go out with the ATVs and they have the big truck things and the truck hits something and
You talking
catches on
about monster,
fire.
like monster
Yeah.
trucks or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're always going to have some of that. That's always going to be the case. But more people figured that out and said, let's do this thing called journalism our way and also make a little money on it. So you do have that happening to a degree. I would like to think a small degree, but it does happen.
Gotcha.